The views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect those of the network or its affiliates. This content is for informational purposes only and should not be considered medical advice nor treated as a replacement for diagnosis or treatment. Please consult your healthcare provider of choice regarding any personal changes to your health or treatment plan. Before her diagnosis, she lived like most Americans, eating and drinking whatever she wanted without much thought about it. Then cancer entered her world without warning, and she was suddenly in a fight she wasn't prepared for. Desperate for answers, she began studying everything she could find about cancer and the treatment options available to her, both allopathic and alternative. And in the end, she chose an unconventional, natural path, and against all the odds, she made it through. Today, she's here to tell her incredible story. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Life TV Now, where we unpack all matters of truth, faith, and freedom. Today, we have a program planned for you that I promise for some of you watching this program, this is going to be a divine appointment. I think God is going to use the information that is revealed today to change the trajectory of some of your lives. Before we dive in, let me introduce who's here. We are joined by my beautiful wife and best friend, Katherine Horn. And she's the author of the book Stealth Journey, An Uncommon Fight Against Cancer, Fear, Tradition, and Pharmaceuticals. As a 26-year, two-time cancer survivor and motivational speaker, she shares her personal experience in overcoming her diagnosis through God's guidance. Please welcome the one and only Naomi Havens. Naomi, I'm just going to say at the onset, this interview is way overdue. You and I had a chance. I was struggling with my memory before the program. When did we actually meet? And I placed it 2018. I was corrected. It was at 2019. I want to say it was the Defender Conference at the Radisson Hotel in Branson, Missouri. And I will never forget this detail. You and your husband, Tim, who's also here today, walking around. Will you do me a favor? Hold up your arm. You got to see this. I don't know if this is exactly lime green, what they call this, sublime green. I had a car once, almost the same color. But he is walking around. You guys are walking around head to toe, fully green. And he's got a suit. Must have been a special order, a suit in that color. I'm like, who are these people with the green like this? I've never seen this before. But there was a reason for the green. And so I asked, I said, hey guys, what's the deal with the green? And you started to describe, I'm not going to steal your thunder because I want you to explain what the symbolism behind the green is. But one of the things I ascertained right away when we started talking, it was probably less than 3 minutes, you revealed that you had been handed by medical doctors a 5-year, what you called a death sentence.
Yes.
And I said, well, when was this? And you started talking about many years ago. And at the time, I'm like, well, you've already outlived that. You know, what happened? What did you find? What was your journey about? So I want to start with that. First, let's just clarify what the green symbolism is, and then let's dive into the 5-year death sentence, because you're obviously still here 26 years later
Exactly.
by the grace of God. Let's do it.
Yes.
What is the green about?
The green is part of our organization, Victory Haven Natural Health Group. It's part of our colors, because green means growth. And spring and summer are my absolute favorite seasons of the year because everything comes back to life. And green represents life. The other color is purple. And purple is because purple stands for royalty.
Yes.
As a daughter of the Most High, I am royalty. And he's the one that founded Victory Haven Natural Health Group and asked me to be the co-founder, his mouth, hands, and feet. So I do what he asks, and these are the 2 colors that he has asked me to use.
I also remember during that encounter that you handed me a book called Stealth Journey, And we're going to tell people in just a minute how they can get their own copy of this. This details your journey. But you've got a brand new book, and I want to make sure that people also know how they can get their copy of this new one. Let's bring them up on the screen. Let me read you the subtitles of these. The new book is called Cancer Facing My Deepest Fear, Going Out Upon the Water and the Great Unknown. And of course, the subtitle to your book, Stealth Journey, An Uncommon Fight Against Cancer, Fear, Tradition, and Pharmaceuticals. This one's a lot thicker.
Yes.
The new one's a lot bigger.
Yes.
You can almost get a workout lifting these articles. That's a big book. When did you first get diagnosed? You know, so many people are as we speak, daily. You know, the numbers are just cranking up higher and higher
Yes.
and higher.
Yeah.
The statistics are being cranked up higher and higher and higher. And they're being confronted by that big worry that so many people live in abject panic over every time they develop hiccups. And they're waiting, you know, for test results, and they're waiting for the oncology department to reveal the results of the biopsy or what have you. And they're being told, you know, and I've heard people that have gone through this say, you're never ready, no matter how much you think you're ready. You're never ready for that sledgehammer to the chest of, we're sorry to inform you. But you've been through that
Yes.
twice. Let's talk about
Yes.
the first time. What did they
Okay.
tell you? What was going on?
Well, honestly, I found the first tumor myself. And my gut feeling was that it was cancer. And cancer was my deepest fear because everyone I knew who had been diagnosed died. So it was a death sentence to me. And I was only in my 40s, and I still had a 16-year-old daughter at home at the time that I was homeschooling. And I wanted to see her get married and have kids.
Sure.
And so I was not ready for death. But we had moved away from the place that we had been at for a while. And Tim, my husband, had gotten a job in a different location, and that's when I found the first tumor. And I just am not real crazy about searching for doctors. And we ended up going right back to what's called Savannah, Georgia, which is where we had been before. We ended up going back 9 months after we arrived in Washington, D.C. And so I thought, you know, I'm just going to watch this myself. So I did, and I started noticing that sugar, and for me, chocolate, made it grow and made it hurt. So when
interesting.
I cut back on those, then it was manageable. I didn't go searching for a doctor. And there was one back in Savannah that had a really good reputation that I thought, well, when we get back there, I'll just make an appointment for her. And she is one that is pretty booked up.
Sure.
But by the time we moved back, she had an opening. And so I went to her, and that started the roller coaster ride of doctor visits and all these other things.
They were going to test it. They wanted to know what we're dealing with. Let's
Right,
confirm that
right.
this isn't benign.
Right.
So you started, I'm sure, getting some test results back, and now they're telling you what?
That it was stage 2 cancer, stage 2 breast cancer, and I needed to get it cut out immediately. And I hadn't done my research, but I had met people throughout my life who had gone to the allopathic medicine for lots of various reasons and had not found answers and turned to the natural. And I felt like there had to be something more than what was offered, the surgery, the chemo, and the radiation. Sure. But I just hadn't done my research. And you know, you talk about mindset. My mindset at that time and where it came from, I'm still trying to figure out, except that I was raised military, so that could be. My mindset was that if I did not do what the doctors said, I could be arrested and put in jail. Now, you might laugh at that, but that's where my mindset was at the time. So I went ahead with what they said with the surgery, which, like you say, Joe, causes other issues.
So you believed that if you declined the allopathic standard of care with this, which is I'm assuming they said surgery, were they also offering things like chemotherapy and
Yes.
radiation?
Yes.
And so whatever the drivers, you were afraid? Would you say you were afraid to decline that, and so you went along with it?
My belief was that they were all-knowing and that I had to do what they said, or they'd call and I'd be arrested.
Were you also afraid that if you didn't do the treatments that your likelihood of maybe passing away went way up? Was there a part of that, or were you literally only afraid that they would somehow lock you up?
I was only afraid of being locked up.
Okay.
The only thing is that as a 17-year-old, Daniel became my favorite Bible character, and Daniel 1:8 became my life verse. Now, what 17-year-old chooses Daniel or Daniel 1:8? And if you're not familiar with Daniel 1:8, it says, Daniel purposed in his heart that he would not defile himself with the king's offerings. Now, it's been a journey to learn what the king's offerings actually means, and that was going through my head the whole time. I'm not going to defile myself. I'm not going to defile myself. And I have an aunt that I dearly love. And she was diagnosed twice and did the chemo and radiation both times, believes that it absolutely saved her, and she's still alive today. But she had a major stroke and has been in a wheelchair for like 20 years.
Wow.
And I'm like, no, I'm too young. I don't want to end up like her. So that was part of my thought process as well.
Okay. So I remember when I met you in Branson all those years ago, you telling me that you consented to the care, they did the surgery. I couldn't remember if you'd done the chemotherapy. But how long was it after that then they said, well, it's come back? Was it a couple of years?
It was 5.
So 5 years after the surgery,
Right.
it had come back. Now it's the same breast?
Yes.
Okay. And at this point, what are your thoughts? Like, are you going to do the surgery again? What did you determine the second time?
Well, the first time I actually did start researching natural things and changing diet. I was the person that I see food, I eat it, no matter what it is. And I grew up in a multinational family. My heritage is German. I can no longer eat my favorite Christmas cookie that I grew up with. My aunt was married to an Italian straight from Italy. We love Italian food. I have Polish relatives. We absolutely love them. I lived in Japan for 3 years. Absolutely love Oriental food. But I had to be real careful and do a change, and all the changes that I was seeing, I'm like, what's this? Where did this come from? I don't even know where to get some of these ingredients.
Yeah.
So it was a real struggle, and I did not have community support, and I was in business for myself, which means a lot of food is served. And I couldn't eat. One time I paid $15 for a plate of lettuce like this that had one tangerine from a can sitting on top.
Oh, wow.
And that was the plant-based option. And so I quit doing that. And then I started comparing myself. And Yahweh, that's what I call God, Yahweh, the Most High God, tells us not to compare ourselves because we get in trouble.
Yeah.
But I started comparing myself and started going back to my old ways. I found the second tumor again myself, and was doing a real good job of monitoring it. But Tim and I have a saying, the longest road a person can take is from their head to their heart.
Yeah, it is.
The first
That's very
journey
true.
was all up here. That was do's and don'ts. The second journey, it came down to my heart and has solidified, and is how Yahweh showed me his purpose for me. I grew up believing that I was supposed to be a nurse. But when I went off to college, he made it clear that the allopathic was not the arena he wanted me in. This cancer journey has shown me that the natural arena is his arena.
Yeah.
And yes, my dad, we nearly lost him to a bleeding ulcer and then a major stroke. I am so grateful for the allopathics being there for him.
Sure.
My 3 grandkids were born with big heads. So they were all 3 born by cesarean. I would not have my grandchildren if it were not for the allopathics. So I am very grateful, but we don't
Sure.
need to go to them for every single sniffle.
That's right.
And so I found the second one myself, and that was when I got serious about being natural.
So just so that I understand, you somewhere between the first discovery of the first tumor and then the second one when it came back, you had kind of started doing research into natural health and sort of kind of applying it, but weren't like completely gridlocked serious about it until the discovery of the second one.
Correct.
So now you've discovered the second one and you have this moment, am I describing this right, where you're like, I have to get unwavering now in my eating, my nutrition. How did you overcome the second one? Because you're obviously still sitting here. How did that go? What did you do about the second one?
Well, it's a complete lifestyle. It is not just diet, and it is your mindset. And, you know, when I refused chemo and radiation the first time, we were clueless what we were going to do. But I honestly believed, especially with my size, that I would have been 6 foot under if I had done that. Mm-hmm. And so Yahweh has always been there for me. Mm-hmm. And he just kept bringing resources to us. Larry Burkett, if anybody remembers Larry Burkett with Crown Financial Ministries, he was one of my mentors. There were several others that Christians and non-Christians that were my mentors and helped me to start learning we did start really doing a lot of research. And I had several other things happen too before getting the second surgery, which I feel like I was backed into as well.
So you know, one of the things that I asked Naomi, you know, in between programs today was, did you feel coerced? And she's described where both surgeries, and especially the second one, she felt coerced and pressured by the medical, you know, you'll die if you don't do this thing. So you said yes to both surgeries, but
Yes.
no both times to chemo radiation.
Exactly.
Got it. Okay.
Yes.
But since then, because, you know, I'm assuming they did all of the, hey, if you don't do these things, it's going to come back.
Right.
Hey, if you don't do the chemotherapy,
Yeah.
it's going to, you know, these things come back. But now you're decades later, and you have completely, I've known this woman for basically a decade now. You and your husband both, Tim, you guys live the lifestyle, you eat the nutrition, you do the supplements, you eat clean. For somebody watching this program, they're like, what does that look like? How does Naomi Havens eat today? What is your typical, do you have a typical daily kind of diet routine?
Not really.
Well, something less generic than just avoid
Right.
sugar.
Right. No. We have cut out processed foods. Now, I will tell you that over the last 8 years, I went through an extreme emotional trauma brought on by bullying by people who call themselves Christians and that I went to church with. And then we uprooted after 23 years and moved to a new location, and I have not been able to really connect in the community. And so that sent me down a downward spiral that had me eating, if you're familiar with Amy's frozen foods, they're organic, they're yummy. And I absolutely love the chili mac. And I was eating the chili mac quite a bit, but that was for my emotions.
Right.
It was not healing for my body personally. And my body personally, I have had to go plant-based.
Okay.
Now, I have started incorporating eggs, and I do eat salmon, and periodically we will do liver and onion, and people go, ugh. Well, I look at the nutritional value of it.
Absolutely.
And honestly, I love liver and onions, and I grew up on it too, so that
vitamins.
helps.
Lots.
Oh
A lot of
yeah, lots of
detoxing
vitamins,
things.
and
Yeah.
the onions have so much value to them and such. But I do a regular smoothie.
When you say smoothie now, a lot of people
Yeah.
might assume you mean, the little umbrella with the tropical fruit flavors
no.
and little bits of chocolate and caramel.
No.
You're talking about like a smoothie I would do. It's greens and it's
Yes.
whole
yes.
foods.
And we honestly, after uprooting after 23 years, we were in between houses for 9 weeks. And so we had our own camper, and so I started a subscription to a company that provides smoothies in a paper cup about this size. And it's all the ingredients, the fruits and the vegetables, and there's coconut and some other things in it. And it comes all chopped up and frozen. So you just take it out of the freezer, put it in your blender, and I use water because nut milks and I don't get along. Even though I love them, and then nut milks can have other ingredients that that can cause the cancer to grow again. I use mostly water, and then I just blend it up, and that's what we drink we drink it throughout the day. We use a lot of them and drink them throughout the day, but then just a lot of fruit, a lot of variety in the fruit and vegetable arena.
Yeah, God's food. A lot of variety in the arena of God's whole food, clean food, not processed.
Right.
And your body needs a variety of things so that it can get nourishment at the cellular level. Before we go too much further, though, because we're running out of time already, Naomi, these go really quick.
They do.
Tell people where they can get both of these books if they want to learn more about your ministry, the work that you and Tim are doing to coach people now who are right at the beginning or maybe the middle of that diagnosis or that journey, and maybe they've not started treatment yet, or maybe they're in the middle of treatment and they don't like how it's going. Where can they learn more about what you guys do? And then a follow-up question with only about 6 minutes on the clock is, what would you want someone newly diagnosed and overwhelmed? What is the first thing that you would want them to hear from Naomi Havens? So first, where can they learn the books?
Okay, I will tell you that Stealth Journey is no longer available by itself.
Okay.
Because it is inside the cover of Cancer Facing My Deepest Fear, which it was my deepest fear. They can find that on our website, victoryhaven, HAVEN.org.
Okay, so if they get this new book, they're actually getting Stealth Journey as well.
Right, and they're also getting a cool recipe section.
This. My staff has been bugging Naomi for a year. Where is your recipe section? How do we take what you guys have learned? I know your husband's a huge fan of probiotics being delivered via yogurt, but not your grocery store, box store yogurt. This is a different kind of yogurt.
Yes.
So anyway, but to learn more, again, the website.
victoryhaven.org.
Okay, and it sounds like you need this book right here in order to get this book.
Yes.
I encourage you to do it right away. Patronize these wonderful men and women of God. They are doing incredible work, and the people that you're ministering to are the salt of the earth, and they need your help so much. With just a few minutes left as we're winding this program down, what is the first thing that you would want someone to hear that's being told if you go against the conventional treatment plan that the doctor is insisting that I do? You're a goner. Like, they're saying things like, this is urgent. Do you not realize how serious this is? A lot of, I don't want to say purposed fear, because that makes it sound like I am disparaging, let's say, a good oncology doctor that's given their life to the Lord and they're there to try to help people. That's not what I want to do. But a side effect of all their cautions and the way they framework thing has the forbearance of a ton of fear attached to it. What is the first thing that you would want someone to hear from Naomi Havens?
I've been there. I have been there. And fear is how they get you to move. And you have time. It's never too late until you are 6 foot under. And you do have time. And I have people say, but they tell me it's fast moving and it's rare. And I say, I've heard that before. And you do have time to do research. And my book offers a ton of resources. I am a health coach, a naturopathic practitioner health coach. I am able to walk you through it. And you really need to educate yourself.
That's the
and
big
you
one.
need to be an advocate for
That's
yourself.
huge. Yeah. Learning how to be an advocate, I think, is one of the most things people don't know how to do because of the fear comes in and they're like, well, I don't even know how to advocate. But we've seen that a ton, even with our own health journeys or the kids, learn how to advocate for yourself and for your kids because it's so important, especially in the days we live in right now.
And the more you educate yourself, the better you're going to be able to advocate.
Absolutely.
And I don't know if I'm right about this, but I also never take the approach when someone has chosen the allopathic standard of care. I never get on these people and start becoming the other side, the other team. Don't you know that if you do this, you'll have a stroke in 5 years? Don't you know what chemo does to the inside of your cell?
Yeah.
And I have people that criticize me for that because they feel like I should be very urgent in trying to persuade people away from the things. But again, fear is not a good. This is
it's not a good
detrimental to people
motivator.
that are fighting for their lives, regardless of what path they choose. So when I'm talking to my dearest friends, I have a friend right now in Oregon. She's about my age. They told her a year ago that she has triple negative breast cancer.
Yes.
They've only given her so long to live, and I don't want to get into her journey, but the point is. And I'm just reporting what she's telling to me, but one of the tumors is completely gone, and the one that was the larger one, the size of a walnut, is about the size of an M&M now. And she is doing things nutritionally. She is focused on lifestyle. She's doing everything she can to keep her brain engaged in life. She's speaking life over her kids. She's planning to be here, is what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
And right now, her doctors can't explain this, what appears to be reversing of things. But when she first called me, friends, she kind of wanted me to weigh in on which of these options. And I only said, pray about what God would do with your life in this moment. You'll know it's him speaking when it washes over your body like a salve. If it's petrifying, if it's terrifying, that's probably not the right voice.
Yeah.
Listen to the voice of God, and he will speak to you about what the right outcome for you is, the plan that you should pursue. And so, and the reason I do that is not because I'm afraid to be honest. If somebody absolutely corners me and says, which of these paths, I'm going to come down on the side of let's fight everything we can naturally because I don't like the side effects of some of the other forms of care. But one of the things I refuse to do, friends, is I refuse to try to scare somebody into taking the holistic natural path because if you don't... Now they're already overwhelmed.
Yep.
They're already fighting all of these thoughts, some of them suicidal thoughts, because they'd rather die quickly than over time if they're not going to make it. And that's just a sad reality of where we're at.
Yeah.
And I will not be one of the people dogpiling them, trying to compel them to do it my way through fear.
Right.
So again, pray.
Yes.
Take a moment, slow down, be your own advocate.
Yep.
You'll know it's God when it washes over you like a salve. That's about all I'm going to offer on a platform like this, where I don't know the individuals or what specific deals or dilemmas they're confronted by. But does that make sense?
Yes.
Irregardless, all of us have a time, and only God knows when that time is. Everybody in this building drawing oxygen. From the day that we were born, I don't want to say we were born with a death sentence, but we are living on a fallen planet, and all of us have a time. It is unavoidable. My father-in-law, her dad, he says, well, none of us are getting out of this thing alive. If you're a believer in Jesus Christ, it's not the end.
No.
No.
It's a different address.
It's a shifting of gears. You are now ascending into your heavenly bodies, and the worries and the woes and the fears of this place are no more. So friends, if you don't know Jesus, get to know him. Find a local church. Find somebody. Go to Naomi Haven's website.
Yeah.
Check out what they're doing. Get connected to groups that are there to support you emotionally and bring you hope and encouragement, and not just pound you and berate you with fear outcomes. Does that make sense?
So I do talk to a lot of people who tell me after the fact or as they're navigating cancer that they wish they had known before what I share with them, because I am an educator, I am a teacher. And I share with them both sides, and we are all biodiverse, and each body is going to have a different outcome. But this is what I have seen and learned on this side, and this is what I have seen and learned and experienced on this side. And they are so thankful and say, man, I wish I would have known before.
Yeah. Naomi, you and Tim are both just wealths of knowledge, priceless knowledge. Again, go to their websites, check out the wonderful work that they're doing.
Share it
right
with your
away.
friends.
Share it with your friends. Unfortunately, we're all out of time for everybody here in studio. Naomi, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for your invite.
My beautiful wife, Catherine. I'm Joe Artis Horn. Keep your eyes on the prize, which is Jesus Christ. We'll be back.